Hey everyone, it's Florian with Monarch. Excited to present a new deal that we have here in escrow. We're closing on it this year. Came to us, it's the 24 unit that I had previously talked about. It came back to us a couple weeks ago. So this one is for people that are ready to go right now. We're going to be asking for funds um, by the 23rd, which is just a little over a week from now, and closing on the 30th. Okay. So obviously get with us if you have any questions. Just real quick, a disclaimer as we go. We're learning more about legal and doing things right. So the information in this video does not constitute projections of investment returns, nor does it constitute an offer to sell any interest in the LLC owning the property. All information is only estimates of potential revenues, expenses, cash flows, profits, and losses, and it's very possible that the actual results will differ and vary from these calculations. Okay, so with that said, we're very excited about this one. It's $3.1 million, which is $129 a door. We're actually doing this with, we brought on another partner, Josh Brower, who's actually my broker. He's been active, one of the leading brokers in San Diego for 17 years. Lifetime of ownership experiences. His family owns about 300 units and he's got his own portfolio. So brought him on mainly for helping us raise capital, but obviously having another broker in tow and just the experience he brings is massive. So we're very excited about that. So the deal will involve him. 24 units. It's in East San Diego. Here's the property as it looks inside. I'll just show you a quick. There's the overhead view, and then here it is, basically just south of Lemon Grove. It virtually borders Lemon Grove. 24 units are all one bedrooms. It was originally a senior restricted apartment building, which means that you could only rent to tenants that are 62, I think 62 and a half years or older. So that restriction has since been lifted and it's just a regular apartment building now. They're all one bedroom, 500 square foot units, very open. They feel nice. They feel, good inside. This is, there's like four of these that are slightly renovated. We'll still put some money in these. So why are we getting a deal at 129 a door? Let me just first show you guys, for those of you interested in comps, pull it over. So we had to literally go back to 2017 to find comps that were close to 129 a door. We were pretty sure we're going to be setting a record for the lowest price per unit sale in San Diego County this year. These comps are all San Diego County, by the way, not just that area. And probably even going in the last year. So ultra low price per unit. Basically, the seller, past owner passed away, and it's now two families who don't get along. They want to sell, and they have some huge tax benefits if they sell by the end of the year. On top of that, this is very much a high risk, high reward deal, and most of the meat of that is in the rent roll, which is extremely low. Okay, so we're dealing with tenants on low or fixed incomes. And basically the crux of this deal is, getting tenants out and doing the work and stabilizing the property. Okay. As a result, we're basically looking at this as as two versions. One of them, which I'm going to go over right now, is like worst case if hell froze over action plan. Okay. And the numbers therein, and then I'll show you what we think realistically we'll actually be able to do. So just going through some incentives here, just to start off with the fees, we're doing just a 1% acquisition fee on this one. The promote will be 8% preferred. That's compounded every year, and then a 30% promote. And then this is the first time we're doing an incentive for the managers, just because everything is so heavily predicated on how well we do as far as the execution plan. So if we hit certain incentives, the promote will jump to a 50 promote. The preferred return will remain the same. but it'll go to a 50 promote, and then we'll add a disposition fee, which is something we haven't done before. So again, it'll be a 3% disposition fee, and all that will be laid out on like using a table in the operating agreement and PPM. Okay. We're raising just under 1.1 million. This is the amount that we're putting in as GPs, and that's basically the deal. Okay, so let's go over the assumptions as we look at this as as a very conservative model. The first thing is we're looking at an exit cap of 6%. Looking at this as a 10-year hold, just because of if we do this right, it'll be a cash cow to something we'll want to hang on to until we find something bigger and better. But great investment potential if we hit it right. So 6% exit cap, 6% on the cap rate for the refi. I'm using a 7% interest rate. For those of you in tune with lenders, they'll agree with you. They'll agree with me. I think that this is a conservative interest rate. Anything 6 to 7%. We have $300,000 that is just going to sit in the bank account for interest payments and CapEx. The reason for that is we're looking at this as a worst case scenario as a 2-year project. Okay, which means year one, we get 12 units stabilized. We do rent increases on the other 12, and then next year after that, we have everything stabilized. We're also looking at it as 4 months of turnover per unit, which should be closer to 2.5. It'll be 2 to 4 weeks for doing the work, another month or so to rent it out. So this is very padded. Here's our budget for the work we're gonna do. We have a bid already at just over 20,000. So leaving a little bit of room there for overage on interior renovation. And then here's the rest of the budget that we're gonna spend. We're looking between the cash for keys here, and we threw some into the interest reserve and CapEx reserve. We're looking at having a budget of $7,500 per unit for cash for keys. And we're also going to be looking to we'll be pulling permits to basically legally have the recourse excuse me, to go and empty the units. Obviously in today's world, we want to be doing everything above board. So not only are we planning to spend a bunch of money on relocating tenants, but also doing it right with the permits. Okay. Rent target will be $1,650 per unit, and we have some rent comps for those who want to see them in and around the area. Basically there's 6 of them. I'll add a 7th one, the Whiteman deal that we did. They're now getting $1,650. Those are 350 square foot ones in tough part of City Heights. So very, very similar demographic. These are 500 square foot units. So you can see here where the average is. I think we're, well insulated to hit that number. So let's see. The long and the short of it is this would be a refi in or around the end of year 2. In for 3.1 at that point, we're looking at a new value of just under 5.3 million, which is $220 a door. So we've obviously built a bunch of equity in there. Because of this higher interest rate, we're not able to cash out all that equity right away. So basically this new loan would just cover the existing loan. We basically get stabilized long-term debt, have a bunch of equity in the deal, and then when things get better with interest rates, if this is really a 7% market, we'll go ahead and capture that equity later on. So worst case scenario, what do these numbers look like? We're looking at a 12.6 IRR and a 3.28x equity multiple. This number already is tremendous. It's higher than other deals we've done. Usually we're at like 2.5 to 3 on 10-year holds. So we're already being compensated, and that's a result of the the purchase price, and again the equity that we're building in. Even though we're not taking it out right away with the refi, it's in there, and when we sell, we do get to capture it. Okay. For those of you interested on the actual cash on cash metrics, this basically spits out to an average cash on cash of 5.1%. Here, the cap rate, basically once we're stabilized, we're looking at a 6.6 cap rate. The GRM numbers are fantastic, sub 10. I mean, even going in as bad as it is, it's a just under 14, which is good. So these are the worst case scenarios, and we're very happy about them. Again, as projections. So let me now flip to the other model, which is how we think it'll go. Basically, the biggest difference is it goes from a 2-year plan to a 1-year plan. Again, based on the action, the plan of attack with the amount of money we're going to spend relocating, the permits we're going to pull, we think that we can get everyone out and stabilized within a year. So this is that model reflective. The other changes I made was tweaking this to a 2.5 term for turnover instead of 4. Nothing changed in the CapEx. So again, we think hopefully on some things we'll do better, namely cash for keys, and some other areas. And then on the assumptions page, instead of the 300,000 I had, we're just shrinking it by around half, so 160,000. And what else? So the exit cap is now 5.5. Same thing on the refi. The interest rate we're doing 5.65, which is what it is today. So again, if you think talking to lenders that rates will be where they are today, then we should be able to hit these refi loan numbers. So in this situation, we're actually pulling out more. We are taking cash out, and with those numbers, now we're able to do a 48% return end of year 1 on invested capital. That's tax-free money that lets us go buy other property or just money back in people's accounts, and a 19.4 IRR, which is great, obviously, and a 3.43 equity multiple. And this is with the higher promote already factored in with the 50% and the 3% disposition fee. So all fees are always included when showing these returns. Looking at the cash flow numbers, now our average cash on cash shoots up to 18.65. Obviously there's the cap rate stabilize right, like just under a 9 going into year 2. So that's all great. And obviously these cash on cash numbers and return on equity numbers are great as well. And by the way, I just remembered that I want to explain why we have so much money just as a padding. So again, if this is a worst case scenario, 2-year hold, these are the numbers for 2 years. So where's that money going to come from? Obviously we need to have it. That's 230,000 roughly. So again, all that money is there in a worst case scenario, if we need it for mortgage payments as well as extra money for cash for keys. So again, going back to the 1-year model, now this number is closer to 80,000 negative year 1, and we're still heavily padded there with 160,000. So again, this is a more realistic but still pretty well padded deck, showing projections, which is why we're excited about it. I guess the feedback just from everyone we've talked to is that people are calling this deal of the year, home run deal. It's a home run deal on paper just because of the purchase price, and again the action plan and the plan of attack with the manager, and how we go about things is really how we realize that potential to make it a home run. So and then last thing I just realized I'll talk about quickly the debt that we're getting for acquisition. That's going to be 15% down, so we're getting 85 LTV, 10.2 interest rate. We're also going to be able to get a second, and conservatively we'll be doing a 70 LTV on that. We think we'll end up doing better, but because of the speed of this and needing to close this year, we had 2 options for debt. We basically went with the higher leverage one just to be able to get it done. So I hope you guys find this to your liking. Get in touch with us ASAP and we'll talk about any questions you guys have. All right, thanks guys.